Okay guys, George here, and today we're going to do a little bit of a different topic. Today we're going to talk about how we can customize some colors on our goalie leg pads using a product known as Plastidip. Now Plastidip is a spray rubberized coating that's great for giving texture to, say, tools or something like that, but in this case they offer it in a wide range of colors. So this will allow us to customize a plain white goalie pad to match the colors of our team or whatever color pattern you desire. So first thing I just want to show you, we're going to use a Plastidip black, and then we're going to use a Plastidip luxury metal, and this is a, what color was it? This is a selenite gray metallic. So it's going to give a really neat, cool, basically a black and a silver type color to add to our Von Ventus SLR1 pads. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do kind of a yin and a yang type. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this pattern here with black. Then the next color over this channel right here will be silver. And then this one right here will be black, so it'll start to allow some of this white striping to come through. And the other side, I'm going to do the exact opposite. So this will be gray, this will be black, and then this will be gray. So it'll give kind of a yin and a yang effect. Now, the cool thing about the Plastidip is if you don't like it, you just peel it off and start over. So you can kind of see a little bit of residue here where the Plastidip got into the threading. That's going to be okay because all that's going to be covered again, so it's not going to be a big deal. So the first thing you want to do is you want to clean off your goalie pad as much as you possibly can. I used a magic eraser and cleaned off quite a bit. As you can imagine, over the use, you can imagine how many puck marks and things like that you're going to get. This is after a few hours of scrubbing, so you can kind of see they're not perfect, but they do have quite a few less than what was on there. So the next step we want to do is, now that we know where our colors are going to go, we're going to take some blue painter's masking tape and we're going to go ahead and mask off the areas for the different colors. Now, we can't shoot both colors at the same time. This is going to take probably a day or two process. So start with one of the colors and start that process today, and then let it dry overnight when we're done, and then start the second color. And that way you don't end up damaging your paint job because you're trying to do too much at one time. So this is a great opportunity now. I know some of you guys are getting back into hockey and playing again. Unfortunately, here in Durango, we don't get ice again until October. So I've got plenty of time for this to do. So we're going to go ahead and start. So I'll show you my process. We'll see what it takes. Okay, so now that we've got the main portions of where we want to color this pad masked off very carefully at the edges to make sure that we get a good seam and a good side. Now we're going to take some newspaper and we're just going to tape it to the outside here to prevent overspray, to make sure that only the sections that we want paint to get on will get on. Because while this stuff peels up easily after installation and after you're, if you decide you're done and you need to change colors, the overspray is very fine, and so it makes it a little bit of a challenge to get off. You'll have to whip out that magic eraser again. So this just saves time later, and also helps keep a nice clean edge on your paintwork. And it doesn't matter how much you overlap, because if you overlap, it just means that's less likely the paint's going to get into that particular area. So you've got plenty of space. Newspaper's cheap. A lot of times the words on it are not worth the paper it's written on, but that's another story for another day. But the good news is that you can still get them on occasion, and helps make a great mask for when we're painting here. You can kind of see how this is coming along. Alright, so that's pretty good right there. So you can see really quickly how we've taken not much time and masked off so that this way we can have our paint colors where we want them and seal off the rest so that it doesn't get the overspray. So now I'm going to do the other pad to match the pattern I want, and then we're going to shoot one color at a time. So I'm going to mask up the other one. We'll be right back. Alright, well, as you can see here, I've got the second side done, and we've got the pad more or less covered with the exception of the one color zone that we're going to use. Now the first color I'm going to shoot is going to be this silver gray metallic. So let's take these outside and let's get some paint on them. All right, so here we are. We've got these pads laid out. Now we're going to put about 4 or 5 coats on this. So remember, you don't need to put all of it on at one time. You're going to slowly build up the layers. Don't overspray and end up with runs in the paint. What we want to do is take our time. We want to build up the layers slowly and make sure that we've got a nice even coat. So let's go ahead and shoot. When you're shooting, make sure you go in long, even strokes. And remember, we're not trying to fill it all perfectly the first time. We can always build up the layers later on. So there we go. There's the first coat of the first layer. Now let's do the other pad. All right, we're going to let that dry for about 30 minutes and we'll come out and put another layer on. All right, we're going in for coat number 2. And there we go. Now we'll let that sit for 30 minutes and come in for coat number 3. All right, here we are. We're going to put on coat number 3. All right, we're going to let that sit for about 30 minutes and we're going to put on coat number 4. Okay, here we go, coat number 5. All right, we're going to let that dry, and then we'll put one more on it. All right, we're going in for our 5th and final coat.
Okay, there's one.
And there we go. We're going to let that sit for a few hours and then we're going to come back and peel the tape. Okay guys, I'm going to show you really quickly how we remove the tape. So I've just taken a standard X-Acto knife. We're just going to very gently go along this edge, and the idea is to make sure that the paint doesn't stick to the tape when we pull it up. We want to make sure that that comes right up. We're going to do the same thing on the other side over here. Again, we want to make sure that that tape is going to peel right up. And you can see we've got a great line right there. Oh yeah. Now let me finish removing the rest of this on here and we'll show you the finished results. Okay guys, here's a look side by side. Look at how beautiful those things look. I'll back up a little bit. Now remember, this is just phase 1. We're going to take some black paint, Plastidip, and we're going to put it on. We're going to create the yin and the yang. So what you see silver on one pad is going to become black on the other pad. So we're going to tape this one up tomorrow. We're going to let it dry overnight, and then we're going to tape it up and be ready to go tomorrow. So here we go. Okay guys, here we are on day 2. Today we're going to mask out the black portions that we're going to shoot. So this is going to become black, and then this section is going to be black on this pad, and then on the other pad this section will become black. So as you can see, we've got a nice clean line. So we're just going to take our blue painter's tape and we're going to mask the lines. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back to you here shortly. Okay, here's pad number 1 taped up. So we're going to paint the black here and here. So we're going to pull up pad number 2. We're going to get it taped up and show you what it looks like, and then we're going to start painting. Okay guys, I got the other side done. We got the pad lined out. This is going to be the black section on this second pad. So now let's take it outside. We'll get some shot on it. Okay, so we're out here in the garage, time to paint. So let's get started. Remember, we're just going to do light coats to start and work our way up. We can always put more on. It's harder to take it off, so you want to be careful to make sure you don't get any runs. Okay, we're going to let that dry for half an hour. We're going to put on our second coat. Okay, here we are half an hour later, and we're going to shoot coat number 2. There we go. Come back for coat number 3 in a little bit. Okay guys, here we go, coat number 3. All right, we'll be back in a little bit. Okay guys, we're back. Now we're ready for coat number 4. Okay, we'll be back in half an hour for the next coat. Okay guys, we're here with our 5th and final coat, and let's get to it. Okay, we're going to let that sit for about half an hour. We'll come back and peel the tape off. Okay, so now we've let it dry for a few hours. So now very gently along our seams, we're going to take just our X-Acto knife. Remember, we're not trying to really cut. We just want to make sure that there's separation where we need it to be, so that way all this just peels right off. So So don't put too much pressure on here when you're making your your knife run. And as we peel back, you can see that nice clean edge is coming up. And there we go. Now we're going to come along this edge here. Got this one right here. Normally shouldn't have too much of an issue here, but this is just to make sure, because when you're peeling up this rubberized coating, it can very well peel up some of that paint, and then you'll have to go back and touch it up a little bit. So let's see where we're at here. Look at that. This is looking sweet. There you go, guys. Check that out. Now we got a nice two-tone color pad there. Nice clean lines through here. So taking your time and masking it off properly is really going to pay off in the end. So let me quickly clear off the other pad and we'll take a look at these side by side. All right, and there we go. Nice clean lines again, and we got our colors. Let's go take a look at these guys side by side. Okay guys, so here's the final product. Look at those sexy beasts there. That's a cool looking yin and yang, silver and black. Now the really cool thing is that there's a lot of products out there that you can use to customize your goalie pads, things like pad skins and other types of decals and stuff like that. But just using a spray can of Plastidip really does give you a nice durable coating. This will be the second time I've painted it. The good thing about Plastidip is it just peels right off. So if you need to change colors or decide you don't like the color pattern you have, you can just simply peel it off and start from scratch. So with all the goalie pads at your stores tend to be solid white, things like that, this gives you the ability now to do a little bit of customizing that in some cases may not even be offered by the manufacturer. So anyway, I hope this tutorial has been helpful for you. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll be getting some other goalie content coming up soon. So guys, thanks for watching. And as you can see here, I've taken just standard blue painter's tape, once that's all dried, and masked around the areas that I don't want to get sprayed. So next what we're going to do is we're just going to take some newspaper and cover up the rest of it, because remember, we are going to be using a spray can. So it's going to go all over the place, so we want to kind of contain and protect the rest of the gear to make sure that it doesn't get sprayed on. Basically, you're going to use the tape to get the precise lines. You can cut small little pieces and fit it into the tight fit locations. And when you're doing this, you can just take a piece and just kind of line it up against the edge of any of the pieces that you're going to want. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to paint this black, but we're going to paint it with a gray color. And I'll show you that in just a second. Remember, after you've got your precise blue paint down, the rest of this is just a shield, so it doesn't need to be precise, it doesn't need to be perfect. Just make sure that you have the sections that you want covered to make sure that you don't get any overspray or paint on them. That should be good. All right, so now you can see that's prepped and ready to paint. So we're going to go outside and do some painting.